So it is time for our next installment in the Ask Ange series. Man, I gotta tell you, I love this series so much because all of us, whenever we're doing something new, we have lots of questions, but particularly when you're doing something like keto that is just totally outside the box, defies conventional wisdom, and goes against, what we've been taught. Of course, you're going to have lots of questions, and I love being able to help answer those questions and help people get started on their ketogenic journey. And I would just love to help you. If you have questions, make sure to follow Advantage Meals on Facebook, and you can hashtag Ask Ange there, or subscribe here on YouTube and hashtag Ask Ange in the comments. And I would love to answer questions about keto, low carb, high fat, anything along those lines. Let me know what you want to know and how I can help. So today's question is, isn't keto expensive? And I have several points that I kind of want to talk about to help clarify this. And I also have an awesome cheap keto recipe that I am going to share for you that you can make a whole bunch for cheap and eat for days. And it'll be a good one for you to have in your arsenal. So I will share that recipe here in a little bit. But to start, my first point as far as is keto expensive is I think you need to think about the fact that keto is meant to be simple. When it comes down to it, a ketogenic diet has been part of the human experience for pretty much all of human evolution. Ketosis is a natural biological state, and humans have been in and out of ketosis over the whole course of our existence. So keto at its heart is really simple. It's a species appropriate diet and can be made with really simple, straightforward foods. Doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have any products. You don't have to have any supplements. You don't have to have any fancy ingredients. Nothing that you don't recognize even. Although you may have the chance to try things that you've never tried before, and that's a good thing. Or you may find some products and supplements that support you that you like, but you don't need those in order to be in ketosis or to eat a ketogenic diet. So that's the first point. And as far as how simple keto can be, the basic meal plan really revolves around the profile. For any meal, you want to eat a palm-sized portion of protein, a handful of non-starchy vegetables, and a couple of spoonfuls of fat. And that is the basics for every meal. And if you follow that and just eat real foods, simple foods, you'll eat a ketogenic diet. You don't need anything fancy or special to buy to go with it, just real simple food. So that also leads into the second point, which is processed food. Now, processed food means somebody else has chopped it, cut it, mixed it, cooked it, packaged it, done something to it, and that adds to the price. You're paying for their time to chop it, mix it, cook it, package it. You're paying for that packaging. When you eat processed food, you're paying for those things, and you're also getting less nutrients because every time there is any processing done to a food, it loses nutrients in the process. So you're paying more, but getting less. You don't have to eat any kind of processed food to eat a ketogenic diet. Now, I know we all love our convenience foods, and I get it. But I learned something a long time ago. No matter what you're doing, if you're cooking a recipe, if you're working on a project, if you're making something, there's a three-prong attack. Things can be cheap, they can be fast, and they can be good. You can have two of those, but not all three. So something can be cheap and fast, but it's not going to be good. Conversely, it can be cheap and good, but it's not going to be as fast. But at the same time, even though it may not be fast, you might have to put a little bit of time and effort to it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. Simple, straightforward food is easy to make and doesn't take all that much of your time, but it does take some. What you're going to do is you're going to trade time for money. You can either have it fast or you can have it less expensive. And so if you just take a little bit of time to plan and prep some food, you're going to save a lot of money and you're going to eat really well while you're doing it. So the third point then is to make sure that you're working within your budget. Everybody is at a different place on their journey. Whether where you are on your journey, you are just now learning about whole foods versus processed foods, or you're just now learning about keto and low carb and high fat, or if you're working on a tight budget, that's where you are in your journey, and you need to make sure that you are honoring that. Here at Advantage Meals, we promote a whole foods, unprocessed, clean kind of approach to keto. So we talk a lot about grass-fed dairy, grass-fed beef, wild-caught salmon, organic vegetables, those kind of things. And we do believe that those things are healthier and more supportive of your health in the long run. But there have been times in our life when we were broke and we couldn't afford organic and grass-fed. And that's okay. If that's where you are, you buy the best that you can afford on your budget. Because I gotta tell you, even the dirtiest keto or the less than perfect keto is better than the standard American diet. The standard American diet that is high carb and low fat and encourages lots of grain consumption leads to high insulin levels and lots of inflammation and causes lots of problems. So even the cheapest keto options are going to be better. For example, like you've got $5 and you go to the grocery store and it has to be enough to buy some food for a few days. Standard American diet, you could buy a loaf of bread and some processed American cheese product and some orange juice. And if you're on the East or West Coast, I know it's probably higher. We're here in the Midwest, and I know our cost of living is lower. But relatively speaking, these cheaper foods, you can buy that standard American diet version, but you're going to be on the insulin roller coaster, and it's not going to support your health. For that same amount of money, you could also buy a dozen eggs, a block of real cheese, and a jar of mayonnaise, and get yourself some good keto-friendly foods that are going to support you on your journey, keep you in ketosis, keep you working towards your goal. And really, that's what it's all about. So this is where the awesome cheap keto recipe comes in. You could make this recipe and eat for days for like $1 a meal. You can make enough for eating it every day for a week. So like $7. You can buy a head of cauliflower, a dozen eggs, and a jar of mayonnaise. And if you go to our AdvantageMeals.com website, there is a recipe on there for no potato salad. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can just click on that and go to the recipe. It's set up for a side serving. So if you eat 2 servings, if you're going to eat it as an entree, it's going to be about 500 calories. It's going to be almost perfect keto macros. It's going to keep you on your journey, keep you eating keto until you're able to buy some other things. Is it perfect to eat all the time? No. But if you're low on funds, it'll get you through. And really, as long as you are continuing to work towards your goal, that's what matters. And if anybody wants to give you crap about where you are on your journey, you can just tell them to go back to their journey and leave you to yours, because you need to take care of where you are at and do what's best for you. The last point that I want to make about the cost of keto is that cost is relative. Because you might choose to buy some more expensive items or some products or some supplements or those kind of things. You might choose to do that because it fits into your life, because you want to. So yes, you might spend more on keto than you would have in the standard American diet, but that cost is relative. You need to think of that as an investment, because what you eat matters. It matters for how you feel right now, and it matters for your health for the rest of your life. What you eat now can affect how you feel when you're near the end of your life. How you take care of yourself is important, and the standard American diet is at the root of so many of the chronic illnesses that Americans experience. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, all sorts of stuff is connected to that high carb, low fat, lots of inflammation, standard American diet. And if you can take back control of your diet, you can take back control of your health, and you're gonna save money in the long run. The cost of treating those chronic diseases is astronomical. The average for treating type 2 diabetes for 1 year is $14,000. That's crazy. And you may have insurance and it may cover a lot of those costs, but it's not going to cover all of them. And somebody has to pay that other cost. Even if your insurance is covering it, somebody is paying that. And the cost of that can be avoided. Plus, insurance and the monetary cost doesn't cover the cost to your quality of life. And if you're spending the last 20 years of your life in and out of the hospital treating chronic diseases, that's no fun. You could be taking care of your health now, and then you could spend the last years of your life playing with your grandchildren. And I don't know about you, but I think that is worth the effort. And I hope that you do feel that it's worth the effort. I hope that you are excited about your keto journey. I hope this answered your questions. If you have other questions, make sure to hashtag #AskAnge, Advantage Meals page on Facebook, or subscribe here at our YouTube channel. And I will look forward to answering those questions in the future.